I've got my notebook and my PPE ready because I'm going to be making some dice today.
Looks fancy.
I'll be making some split pour dice using acrylic paint. These dice are my illusion set, but I wanted to make something a little bit more simple in the same effect. But instead of this font, I'm using one of my other molds, and we're not going to be putting them in a shell. We're just going to be using the same technique I used in the base of these dice. What I'll be using to color the dice today is FolkArt brand Neon Blacklight acrylic paint in neon blue and purple. Mr. Nola's glitter glass coat epoxy, a measuring cup, a couple more silicone cups to get my blue and purple separated. Some stir sticks, of course. Who could do it without stir sticks? My molds in the same font as my Crow's Moon and Robots Rocks dice. And of course, the Druid dice split pour silicone cup so that I can achieve the effect today. I will have the link to his shop down below so that you can check him out. I'll be mixing up 50 milliliters for the molds plus a D20 dump mold to cover transferring to all the different cups and to test inking, because I'm going to be pouring one more D20 besides the 7 that I'm already going. Of course, you mix your silicone for about 5 minutes till it's clear. Then what I'm doing here is I'm splitting them up so that I can get the ink in there. I'll take 3 drops of each color and put it in each of the cups and mix it up. That's all you do. That's all I did, was just do 3 drops, mix it up, and then once that's all mixed and most of the bubbles are popped, I will transfer it to the split pour cup so that it could finish getting closer to pot life. Because with it sitting in those and then trying to pour it in there, it is more viscous and it just takes longer. While I'm waiting for that, what I do is I will take an unscented baby wipe to wipe my stir sticks to clean them off. Sometimes you could also use your alcohol, 91% alcohol in a paper towel as well. But you could also use the alcohol spray to get any surface bubbles, because it's going to be sitting there long enough for us to wait for that stage. I prep my molds for everything that we need to do, and then it's just a waiting game at this point. It does take a while. This one takes probably about 20 minutes, the pot life. So I wait till it gets to honey stage. I kind of just make sure everything is ready. So once I pour, I cap, I put it in the pot, and it's ready to go. Because you really want to get this to a thick enough stage to where you can see the clear separation in each of the colors, which I'm showing here. This is where I get mine to. You can go a little bit less, you can go a little bit more. But that's what mine looks like before I pour each one of my sets like this with a split pour. So then, of course, I sped up this footage because as satisfying as it is to pour and watch, I don't want to waste any more time than I have to. I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't want to waste any more time than I have to showing this process. It's satisfying to me, and it may be satisfying to you, but I just sped it up because it looks funny when I do that. Doop, 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 doop. And then here you can see just how thick it gets by the end of it. It's just really pouring out like honey. So that's why when I see it at that stage where I showed previous before I started pouring, you have moments before it gets to a thick point and you really can't do too much with it. I will pour the rest of it back into a silicone cup so that I can get a puck that I write everything down in. With every pour, I get the lighter to pop any surface bubbles, which I've seen to know. You can also use your little spray bottle with the 91% alcohol, but then you have to sit there and wait a little bit longer for the rest of that to gas off. Then I will cap my molds, which is, I don't know, did I show this in the last video? I probably did, where you just kind of tap it down, make sure the keys are all right, and just kind of tap it, give it a little slap, don't press too hard, just a little tap tap. And then make sure all my keys are lined up. I just kind of jostle it a little bit, like roll it in my hands, and then I just put each, I just repeat the process for each mold, which I don't know why I'm showing you every one, but it's like a little montage of each one disappearing from the bench. Then we put it in old JB, our pressure pot. Yes, the pressure pot's name is JB. Okay, so sometimes with the Harbor Freight pressure pots, you get the seals that don't seal as great. So what I do is I have Vaseline to keep that seal, and it just keeps it so that I don't get any air leakage. It doesn't need it all the time. Sometimes it does. But then after that, I will get it to 37 because of the process, and then I clean my bench.
24 hours later.
And now it is time to pull the dice because it's been 24 hours, and they're ready. They're ready to go. And what I find out is that they're not completely ready to go. They're ready to go enough to where my dice should be. There are times because it's cooler. It was about 67 degrees and 24 hours. They were still slightly dentable, which have since been fully cured because I've kept it warm in here. But when it says 24 hours, sometimes it's not exactly 24 hours. So I carefully scrape the rest of the flashing off after I get the flashing off of each one of them, just to get them to a point to where I can polish them with my papers. But of course, with polishing them, I get an idea. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to polish each one of them and we're going to go from there. Oh, and another thing I found that with the Druid Dice split pour cups, you get like this cool effect with the pullings. And I think I might have an idea for that later. And then with those, I'm showing here how if you buy his cups, I'm showing how you can just flip it inside out so that you can clean it a little bit better. It doesn't rip. At least it hasn't ripped for me. It takes a little bit of force, but if you're careful with it, it's pretty easy to clean. Then today I'm going to be using I tested with Apple Barrel Black and Anita's white. And this is what it looks like with the white. I tended to not go with the black because you really don't see it. Here is where I'm showing that I was going to polish them. I was going to use the Zona papers, for the last three, like the pink, the blue, then the white, and then maybe polishing them with the Dremel. But I got this crazy idea. So what I did was I took the number 2 Zona, which was the gray, and I took just a few rotations on each face of the dice. So I did a little bit extra, and I made them frosty. I was like, I'm just going to go frosty with these, and it ended up looking really good. So I will ink each one of them with the white, and this is what they look like. You can see that they still glow, and they have even like almost like a not dirty stained glass, but a frosty stained glass. But then after those are all done, I will take a paper towel with 91% on it and then clean each one of them up. Of course, there's little bits of paper towel in there. All right, and there you have it. Thank you for watching. This has been Hers with HC Customs. These have been my illusion dice, slightly changed from the ones you saw at the beginning. They're frosty, they have a different font, but they're UV reactive and everything else. If you liked it, tell people. If you didn't like it, tell me why. If there's anything you want to see, go ahead and let me know below. Any links that I have, you'll see in the description. It's always fun making these videos, and I'm glad to be back and making these, just making YouTube videos in general. At the end here, it shows the UV reaction. I know it's not very good, but that is what they look like under UV light. And then you just mix it up until it's nice and mixed.